Well, hello, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. Jiu-Jitsu 2000 here today. I'm back. I've got an interesting video for you today. We're gonna make some taper candles today. And I already have these molds ready to go. So let me show you what I'm using for a wick real quick. I'm using 100% cotton yarn. This is going to be my wick. I pick up this yarn at Walmart. It's like $2 for, I think it's 120 yards or something. But make sure that it's 100% cotton. I've also used this cotton string before for wicks, and it works good too. I picked this up at my cooking store. It's used for tying the legs of chickens up and stuff like that. So cotton string is definitely necessary for your wick. But like I said, today we're going to use cotton yarn. Right here I have the mold that I'm going to be using, and I have the wick already inserted through the mold. And what I've done is I've taken beeswax and I've stuffed it around the hole so that when I pour the wax, I'm not going to have wax pouring out of the bottom of the mold. I'm also putting the mold in like this. And then of course I have the top with a little overhand knot, and what this part does is this part will rest against the mold itself and it will center the wick for me. See that? That's what this does. So you can also pull with a little bit of tension here and it'll keep that string nice and centered so you don't get a string off the side of your candle. So off in the background, what I've got going on here is I have some beeswax heating up, and I'm going to filter this beeswax real quick. I'm just going to run it through this bandana. Just got a little sieve here with a bandana on it, and I'm just going to run the beeswax through that right quick just to make sure that I'm getting the cleanest beeswax possible for these candles. So I can see that my temperature is hot enough, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off the burner. Don't need any more heat. I actually want this wax to cool down just a little bit before I pour these candles. So I'm just going to let this be nice and clean. I want very clean beeswax. And that's a perfect filter for beeswax. Okay, I'm also going to just set this aside for a minute. Let me take this fuel off. I need that beeswax to sit for a little bit, just so it can cool down a little bit. It's a little bit warm right now to be pouring in these molds. Now I have poured hot wax in these molds before, just don't want to make it a habit of doing that. It's definitely something that you want to wait on. Now here's a look at one of the candles that I made earlier today, and I burned it a little bit. I did not use the cotton yarn though for this. I used that other string. Let's go ahead and bring this wax in. And hopefully you can see this. This wax is still a little bit warm. I'm just going to pour that right down in there. Come all the way up to the top. It's important to come all the way up to the top because as this cools, the beeswax is going to shrink a little bit, so I want to pull that down. Make sure that that wick, before this thing changes any kind of color, make sure that that wick is centered really nice. And in our case it looks good, so let's do the second one here. We're just going to pour that wax in. Something like that. And the same thing applies here. Make sure you pull gently up and get that wick centered correctly. If you have a uncentered wick, it's going to make for a little bit of a troublesome candle. So that looks good. And this one here looks good. So now we just wait We let these solidify a little bit. You can see the air bubbles and stuff coming off of the wick inside. I'll try to get a close-up shot of that. See them air bubbles coming off? It's quite interesting. You can see the bottoms is already starting to lighten up in color, so that's good. It's nice and cool out here. And periodically just keep checking that wick, and don't pull too hard on it or you'll pull the wick through, but periodically just pull a little bit and make sure that that thing's still centered. I had a candle that I made earlier today that the wick wasn't completely centered, and it ended up creating problems. The wick was actually touching the side of the mold, so I had to remelt it. Okay, these have had a little bit of time to solidify, and when I pull this top off, you can see that they're kind of cratered in the top because the wax cooled down and solidified, so it's got these little crevices. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit more wax, and I'm just going to pour right into those little areas so that it gets rid of those little crevices. So I'm going to do that to each one. And from here, I'll put my center pieces back on. Make sure the strings are nice and tight so that my wick will be centered. Pull it that there, just pull that up, and I will be back when those are solid. It's been a busy day today. I went outside and I rotated the tires on my truck. It's been a while, so I'm back. We're gonna take a look at these candles and see how they turned out. So we will start by cutting right here, right where the knots are. And we're gonna pull off these little pieces. There we go. So we got those off, and then we'll come take the bottom off, but we're going to straighten the wick here. We're just going to twist the bottom off, which would actually be ended up being the top of the candle. So we have everything. I like to keep everything together. So now what we need to do is we need to pop this out of the mold. So most cases it's pretty easy to do that, as you could see on that one. Sometimes I give it like a mild flex, and then I just push with my thumb, and if I'm lucky, the candles will pop out. From here I take and I cut the bottom string off, and then I cut the top string so that it's about 1/4 inch. So we will cut this one right there. And then again, just like before, we'll cut that to about 1/4 inch. So now, I want to test this. I want to see how well my candle works. So let's just light that bad boy up. It's going to take it just a second for the wax itself to turn to a liquid so that the capillary action of the candle will begin. So as you can see, we are burning that candle, and just taking a look at this one, that is a beautiful candle. These are 10-inch taper candles. If you had like a knife or something you want to kind of trim this outer edge, you could do that. I'm just going to use my finger because I don't have a knife right here with me right now. So I'm just going to kind of clean that up, and that's really all there is to it. to making these taper candles. Very simple. So folks, I want to say thank you for joining me today on this video on how to make these wonderful 10-inch beeswax candles. It was a lot of fun. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to leave your comments down below. Like this video, share this video, and in the description box I will put where you can find these molds that I used in this video. They work pretty good. I think I paid like less than $20 for both of those molds. So until next time, hope you have a beautiful day. We'll see you then. Bye for now.